it's like, you still got a gap and you still can't apply it afterwards. So the goal here is not perfection. It's not going to be perfection. It's not going to be memorization. It's going to be application. And with that application, just like with anything, or just like when we learn things in school, if I can apply things, it doesn't matter how it's X. It doesn't matter how things are formatted, how things are structured. If me as a person, if my skill, if I can adequately apply something, I'm good. So that's why I make sure I teach y'all in that manner. So as you navigate this space and as you go through your technical assessments, because you will probably 9 times out of 10 get a tech assessment. As you go through your tech assessments, as you go through those things, you're able to prove that you can apply these skills. So that's why. And in the event, when you're writing your code, because tonight you actually will write code. So in the event when you are writing your code, if there's a question, don't sit over there and just like try to, oh my God. Literally ask it right then. Or try to work through it, of course, like naturally. Try to work through it a little bit. And if it's something that's just not clicking or something that is like, okay, I really quite don't understand this concept or anything like that, just ask it because it helps. The more like as humans, the more you spin your wheels, the more you sit over there and like talk yourself in circles, you might very much so confuse yourself more than what you were even in the beginning. So just ask and talk through it and we can all talk through it together. Because everybody here is learning. I looked at the data for this cohort and I think 60 to 80% of y'all, um, this was new. So everyone is learning together, and the rest was like exposure or whatever. Nobody was proficient, so everybody is learning together. Don't feel dumb. Don't feel weird. It's no different than when you're learning another language or something. Like you literally are learning something new, and it's gonna take repetition over and over and over again, which is why I give you y'all weekly coding challenges, practice, and application. So I got you. You got you. And we're gonna make sure that you're good as you navigate this space because clearly you're not here for a hobby. You're trying to get an offer. So let's do what we got to do to make some shake. So, any questions before we hop in?
Well, I just have a comment that I still have problems with VPN. I got on two different laptops and still can't get connected.
Can you share your screen?
Well, it's gonna be hard because I'm on my Chromebook on here. But let me show you.
Okay.
Because I had to download Microsoft Remote Connect. So let's see. Sure. Um, sure.
One thing that I've seen is make sure, like, if you use that laptop for like something else and it already has a username in there, make sure that the username is populated for the one that I provided to you.
Okay. I can show you what I have on my Chromebook, but on this other laptop, it's not connected to this. So I'm not gonna be able to share it.
Okay.
But
Okay, let me see what you got. Okay, now put your username.
I
Now let
have
me
it
put you.
already copy and paste. So
Can you view it when you paste it? Make sure you ain't do anything like out of space or nothing over there.
I don't have that on there.
Oh, okay. Click continue and see.
And actually, on the deal that has Windows and it has remote desktop connection, and it took me invalid password, and I entered it several times. I don't know, but I want to hold a class for this.
Let me. Which one were you? Three? Was
Hmm?
that three?
3. Mm-hmm.
Um, Let me make sure it is correct. Password ending in uppercase T.
Uppercase T. That might be it.
In
One
the
second.
IP last, the last digit of the IP is six.
Yes.
And
It's the T. It's a T. Let me try again, okay?
okay,
Continue. I don't want to hold this.
Latasha. Let me.
I would say something, but I left like the ampersand out of mine. So
You did what?
I left a character out of mine. That's why I couldn't
Yeah,
get it to
it's
register.
Latasha. Check your email. I'm making sure you. I'm resending it again. But yeah, it's lit like the password is very sensitive. It doesn't have a subject, but I just sent you an email. But that happens though. The password or either the username. Sometimes it just like if it'll auto populate the username if you already use your computer for something else or whatever, you know. So I just sent it to you, but double check and make sure you're using the correct one. Any other questions before we hop in? Let's go then. So tonight is our introduction to SQL course. This is literally the foundation. And the way that I liken it to is the way that, like, let's say a construction, when you build a home or when you build something, everything that you do literally leans into the foundation that's built to support that product. Everything. I liken tonight's lesson to that. I start as baseline as possible. What is a database? What is SQL? We talk about those DML languages. I talk to you about the data relationships, the data types, and we do those things from a very, very, very foundational level. Because everything that we do from tonight on will literally layer and build upon this. So it's important that you understand these foundations and that you're able to spend, the next week before our next technical session with applying them with your weekly coding challenge, which will start on Sunday. You'll get it in your inbox on Sunday. You'll also have access to this recording, and you'll have access to this recording and your weekly coding challenge. So, with that being said, let's get into our session. So, we're going to start with what is SQL. Some people say SQL, some people say SQL. It literally does not matter. SQL is the number one. Well, it's not number one. I think it's the top three. It's been the top three most in demand tech skill consistently for years, and it's the number one analytic tool. Last time I checked the data with required skills on in the field of analytics, SQL was in like over 80%. So it's a non-negotiable. I've been within this space for 12 years, and it's been years that have gone by that I have not used Power BI, that I have not used Python, that I have not used anything else other than SQL. Ever since I started 12 years ago, I've always used SQL, regardless of any role, anything. It's literally like you gotta know it. Um, so it's a very in-demand skill and it's applicable to any industry, from transportation to healthcare to anybody. Everybody uses SQL. It's not just one of those tools or one of those skills that you learn that it's like, oh, I can only use it in this company or I can only use it in this industry. It is not like that. So that is why learning this skill is very valuable for you. Hey, Denisha, very valuable for you as you navigate your space because it's one of those skills that you can learn that doesn't pigeonhole you. And when I say that, it's one of those skills that you can learn. It's like, oh, okay, I can learn and apply this here. They're everywhere, literally globally. I work with teams from Mexico, Ukraine, like we're all over the globe, and we meet daily in our daily meeting. Touching base with everything. So it's literally global. And the primary components of SQL, or the primary features of SQL, is to support data querying, data manipulation. This is actually what we're going to get into tonight with these DML languages: data manipulation and data definition. SQL provides the commands. We're going to get into these commands for modifying databases, including and creating, altering tables, indexes, and views. So it's a super valuable skill. Um, it's very much so in high demand. And if you just look at the prevalency on LinkedIn and other things, you can see how much of a need it is. We have so much data that we don't have people that are trained and know how to use it in a way that makes it useful. And a lot of people ask about like AI, like, and they say, okay, well, will AI take the role of data analyst? Will AI do these things? AI is data. AI is literally built on Python. So in that event, and it takes patterns of data and gives you an output based on data. Oh, yay! What was the problem?
It was the T on the other.
Okay, 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 okay.
Windows. It was the capital T, but I'm at Chromebook. It's not. So I'm just on this place. I just be on the other one.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thanks. I'm so happy for you. I be worried, like it's like, okay. So let me get back in mode. Okay, so good, Latasha. So let's. Do we have any questions about SQL before we get into databases? So let's get into databases, because one thing about databases is we literally use them all the time. Like even when you think about your phone, when you think about, oh, my phone, that's my phone up there. When you think about your phone and you think about the way things are stored within your phone, you have your pictures, you have your messages. All of those things are compartmentalized, and they provide the ability for you to be able to retrieve it, edit, modify. Anytime you can do something like that and something is stored, technically at its core, it's a database, which is also why it's a very, like, people will fight over it, but it's a very point of contention where I've even seen as navigating space where people even refer to like Excel as a database, because technically it kind of is, and Excel is very robust. But anyway, it technically kind of is, because you use it to store data, you use it to retrieve data, manipulate data. Anything that you do like that stores that data is technically considered a database. We use them all the time. And also, when people think of databases, they oftentimes think of like the databases like what we're going to be working in tonight. But databases literally store images, numbers, videos, just anything that can be stored, modified, and retrieved in an organized fashion is a database. So, why are databases important? So, the primary role of a database is to allow, like I said, that data to be organized and structured in consistent manners. It makes it easy for you, me, anybody that needs that data, or anybody that needs those items or anything they have to retrieve that. Another primary role of the database is it keeps data integrity, meaning that things should be structured in certain ways across your databases. It keeps it organized. Some big primary components of One primary component of a database, and what some of y'all are probably familiar with, well, really all of these, but one primary component that some of you all are probably very much so familiar with, or either consumers of, meaning that you probably use it very much so within your day-to-day work, is the data analysis and reporting. Now, this is when you get into your Tableau, your Power BI, your dashboard types of work, your dashboards within the field of data analytics. Um, I actually had one of my students from October. He had been doing He had been building out dashboards in Tableau for 5 years. Building them out. And first of all, Tableau is not easy. Like I was like, oh, you do it. To me, Tableau kind of hard. But he had been building out dashboards in Tableau for 5 years. And he didn't realize that the back end of that dashboard was actually SQL. So he's been doing the front end, which is those dashboards, but he didn't, I guess, put two and two together that, like, oh, I'm creating these filters. I'm not really quite understanding where the data is actually coming from. So when he learned about SQL, he was like, oh, okay. So he started doing some investigation, on his own at work. And he like, okay, this is SQL. So he took my course, and it made sense because you already building a dashboard. So you got the cart before the horse, really, because you've done the hard part. So let's get you in the back end so you can see what's feeding those dashboards. So it's like I said all that to say a lot of times we are consumers of certain things and don't understand the back end of what feeds that and supports that. So data analysis and reporting is a huge part of analytics work. Think about like a dashboards that you might use at work. That back end, 99% of the time is probably SQL. It's connected to a database somewhere. And the reason being is because, like I said, that database stores that data. So that data coming from somewhere, they're not pulling it out of the air. So if you're a consumer of this, kind of look at your connectors if you use the dashboard. Go and look at your connectors and see where that data is coming from. Another benefit, oh, and another thing. So by the time it gets to the dashboard, it's clean, it's pretty, it tells your story, it's filtered, it's easier to consume. The back end is not like that. What we're learning within this session is the back end. We're learning the data part. Another big part of databases is data organization and management. So databases, like I was saying, it allows your data to be structured, organized, and streamlined in a way that makes sense. If I am a healthcare provider and I provide healthcare to a full, I provide, let's say I provide mental health services to a full state from not pre me, from adolescents to adult to elderly. Literally, it is a statewide funded mental health service. Think about how much data that type of organization consumes. They have patient data, first name, last name. They have demographics, race, age, gender, um, addresses, where these people live. Then, if you want to take it a step further, you got visits, you have diagnosis, you have medication, you have so much data for all of these people. So that database allows for your data to be organized and for it to be managed in just several different ways. That's also when you get into like that data governance, the that data architecture, which is what we're going to talk about as well. But it allows your data to be manageable. Think about if everybody just stored their data and just unstructured. You ain't gonna be able to do anything with it. You can't. It doesn't have any value. If I give a huge data set and nothing is clean, nothing is unstructured, I can't do nothing with it. I might as well not have it. So that database allows for those things to be organized and managed and manageable for consumers or to make informed decisions. Another primary component of databases is data sharing and collaboration. So the way that we do our courses and the way that we will communicate with each other tonight and every last one of our sessions is through databases. You have your own database. You're able to log in, you're able to see your data, you're able to analyze your data, you're able to share your code, you're able to do all of those things without sending anything, without manually like sending files, without having to do any of that, because those databases stores that data and it allows you to collaborate, to share, to send data, to send analysis, to send, whatever you need to people from here all over the globe. So databases are important for that data sharing and that collaboration as well. Any questions about that? So let's get into these types of databases. Now, when we do our sessions, one thing I like to do is I like for things to be like a mindset shift for y'all. I like for if you're about to get into data, your brain has to work like that. When you're watching stuff on the news and when you see something, oh well, 20% of this or 30% of it, you need to like instantly start thinking like, okay, well, what was the source? How did they analyze it? What was the, what's the points? What's the data points? What's the study behind it? Like your brain needs to start thinking in that type of way. And the reason that I say that is because lately, probably since this year, since about January, there has been a lot of talk on like data centers coming up. This $1 billion has been invested in this data center, and they're building this data center here, and they had an infrastructure for it here. That means something for y'all. It might not have meant nothing for you 6 months ago, but baby, today it does. Especially with you learning these type of skills. So I said all that to say, when you're hearing those type of conversations, start getting curious. Start Googling stuff. Start looking at articles. Start doing those things because that literally impacts you. One reason that I say that is because this right here, cloud databases. So when you get into data centers and things like that, those data centers are servers to support cloud infrastructure. So what is cloud? What is the cloud? The cloud is essentially data that is stored off prem. Off prem means it's not on premises, it's not on the premises, it's off the premises. So, therefore, you have more storage, you have more access to things, and you can make things scalable. Meaning that, like I was saying earlier about the collaboration, meaning that you have more room to store things that don't require you to actually have like something concrete to store. So I said all that to say is that there are three different types of databases. Cloud databases is one type of database. When you learn SQL, SQL is a universal language. The SQL can be applied in multiple databases. So I have people asking, they say, well, can I use something like this in a cloud? Yes, you can. SQL is SQL. The difference, the primary difference between multiple databases is how the data is stored. How the data is stored and how the data is processed. But how you, as an analytic professional, retrieve, analyze, and sort through that data is SQL. Which goes back to what I was telling y'all when I first started. And I was saying how when you learn this skill, it's one of those skills that can be your bread and butter. It's a skill. So you're able to take it and you're able to apply it in multiple environments. It doesn't matter. Cloud being one of them. So one thing that cloud does, like I said, it uses this, it has data storage that is scalable. It's very much so data storage, but it's easy to be scaled. However, you use SQL to retrieve that data. Oh, what this doing? Oh. You use SQL to retrieve this data.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm. Who's that, Candace?
Yeah.
Okay. What's up?
Girl, you see, I slid into the May class.
I know. I was like, oh goodness, she didn't play.
Yeah, I wasn't playing. I was like, look at God. But anyway,
Yes.
back to my question. When you say scalable, I want to make sure that I'm thinking the same thing you're thinking. So you're saying that let's say somebody creates a new application and they have Beyonce's concert comes up. So now Ticketmaster is getting stormed by all of these tickets. When it's in the cloud, it allows them to automatically adjust the storage of the database without a lot of intervention. Is that what you mean when you say scalable?
100 million%.
Okay.
I can scale this out because I have this amount of volume at this amount of time. I'm gonna scale it all the way out. Okay, traffic down, traffic is low. I'm pulling it right back. I can modify it to whatever I needed to as I needed to. So a lot of businesses are doing that due to, first of all, the cost benefit. If I'm only paying for what I need, if I'm only paying for what is consumed, I don't have to pay for storage. I don't have to pay for someone to manage my server. I don't have to pay for none of that. So that's exactly what that means. If I need more storage or data, I have that capability to be able to scale it out. When traffic is low or when I need to cut costs, I can minimize it down, and it's not a lot of like physical leg work. Whereas on prem, you've been in tech for a while. On prem, you know the server rooms.
Yeah. You stuck with that cost.
Right.
You want to upgrade, you got to bring in
Exactly.
and so this is where you get into like networking as a service or
Yep.
software as a service
Yep.
because now they're paying for what they use
And
instead
that's
of
it.
just having that bulk rate.
Yep. Yep. So a lot of businesses are like actually one of my projects that I'm about to start working on soon, well, we already kind of started, was data migration. So we're taking data from on-prem to the cloud. And it's pretty much we're using the same language. The only difference is how that data is stored and processed. That's it, that's all. It has nothing to do with like your skills are not antiquated, anything. They literally are just on the back end, the data is stored and processed differently. And it's just stored in like a data storage. Yep. Any other questions? Another type of database is a relational database. This is actually what we're going to learn on tonight. I know that you all have, if you hadn't already, I don't know what you're waiting on. Y'all should be getting active on LinkedIn, looking at different JDs or job descriptions, seeing what skills are prevalent to what type of roles you are. If you're in healthcare, stay in healthcare, look at analytic roles within the healthcare sector, stay in those spaces, but start looking at the type of skills and roles that are required. So, relational databases is one type of database as well. This relational database is actually on prem. What does that mean? That means that your data is stored within your computer, or in your case, within your VM. It's actually taking space within your computer, which is why I provided a VM for y'all, so you ain't got to worry about all that. But the features of a relational database is structured tables. Your data is stored in tables. Everything we do, we're gonna do it in tables. And I'm gonna talk to y'all about that in our next slide. But everything is structured in tables and in columns. New SQL databases is like that high transactional app. That's when you get into things like maybe your banking app or your like banking is a good one, like your banking app or financial institutions. They use a lot of their high transitional data applications because they're distributed and they're high transition. That means they're constantly going. Um, so I've been in data for 12 years and I've written SQL. Like I said, I've used SQL literally since then. So I've done it in multiple dialects. About 80%, yeah, about 80% of my job or my role, I've actually done SQL in Microsoft, which is why I'm teaching y'all because I mean, it's a Microsoft tool. Companies love Microsoft just like y'all got Office, Excel, all type of stuff. I've used SQL in like 80% in that tool, which is why I'm teaching y'all in that. However, I've done work in GCP, which is Google's cloud. I've done work in Amazon Redshift, which is Amazon cloud. I've done work in Oracle, which is a relational database. And the dialect varies between different products, but the foundational core remains consistent. If you know SQL, you can navigate through those different spaces. And when I say different dialect, it's no different than, okay, I sound like I'm from the South. I can't hide that. I can have a conversation with someone that is from New York or California or Spain or anywhere, and we all can speak the same language, but we all have different accents. That's literally how it is within the space of tech. Every company or platform wants to produce their own cloud database. They want to produce their own relational database. They don't want to produce their own systems. So in that, they might add a little flavor to differ their system from Microsoft's or Google's or Amazon. But it's literally no different than you being able to use Excel and you being able to use Google Sheets. If you know Excel, you know Google Sheets. SQL is the same way. There's different dialects of SQL. So with Microsoft, Microsoft is actually TSQL, which is transactional SQL. But yeah, so it's just different dialects of SQL. So I said all that to say, as you're scrolling through LinkedIn and as you see different job descriptions and as you see different things and you like, what is PL SQL? What is T SQL? What is it? It's just different dialects. You know it though. Like it might be something small. Like for some, you might have to put a semicolon at the end of your code, or it might be case sensitive, or something. But it's never nothing crazy. Everything foundationally gonna be the same. Any questions? So I'm gonna touch on this in a high level because we'll actually get into this as we get within a database. But data types, data types, and data relationships and data investigation is literally your like a core skill. And not only is it a core skill within SQL, but it's also going to leverage you throughout the whole field, meaning that other platforms are big on data relationships and data types. You just everywhere from Power BI to Python to Excel. Everything cares about data types. Everything. So I do allow you all to like understand them, but like I all or get exposed to them. But like I always tell y'all, I have people that ask stuff like, "Well, how many data types are there, or how many this, or how many that?" And none of that really actually matters. What matters is your ability to be able to identify and to be able to make decisions based off of that exposure. So, what data types do is they define the type of data that that table can hold. So what that means, I I like it like everything goes back to food with me. Like I don't even care. Everything go back to food with me. So let's say you're in the kitchen and you have like a nice jar with like and you got the word flour written on there. You wouldn't put sugar in it. Or let's say you got this nice colander. Is it not a colander? Like they long, I don't know. But you're supposed to hold pasta in it. You wouldn't put like juice in it. Data types in tape, like when you define your data type, it's literally the same concept. I said that this is an integer, so an integer has to go in here. If an integer does not go in here, it's gonna like fail and like not run. It's not gonna allow the data to even go in there. So I liken it to that. You have your numeric data types, which essentially sound exactly like what they are. They are numbers. They're either integers, floats, double decimal. They're literally just numbers. Then you have your string data types. Your string data types are letters, numbers, just typical like how you would write something in Word or something. Those are string data types. Then you have your date time. That's literally date time. So if I try to enter a name in a column that's defined for date time, it's not gonna do it. This is this right here is called a syntax. It's a block of code. That's another thing I want y'all to get as we go through this space is to get used to like calling things what they are. Especially if you're transitioning into the space, you're not used to like hearing yourself say syntax. compile, which is like when you compile your code. You're not used to that. So I like for y'all to like, if you're talking through, because sometimes I'd be like, okay, Candace, what is your code doing? And you like, okay, well, I'm retrieving data from this table. I like for you to be able to say that so that like your ears can hear your body. Like it's like you can get used to like hearing yourself talk like that because like I said, from this moment on, we're like getting into data now. So I want you to start feeling comfortable and confident in this space. Um, so this right here is a block of code, which is a syntax. Looking at this, what do y'all think that this is doing?
It's just pulling customer data. Let's see. Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Okay. The information maybe that's registered.
Nope. You ain't pulling it, but you're doing something. Yep.
Retrieving?
No, you're not retrieving it. That's select. But you are creating, Candace say creating a table with these columns. That's exactly what you're doing. You creating this table.
Oh, create. I see that create.
Yep. You creating that
Okay.
table. This is your table name. And these are your actual columns. We have our columns here. And then, oh, you don't see my screen, Melissa?
No, I don't. It's just green for me.
There's something going on. Do everybody else see it?
Yes.
Leave out and come back or something.
Okay, I will.
Okay. Um, so here we have our create table. We got our table name, and then we have our columns here. First name, last name, birthday. Now, this is the data type. This is what I was telling you about. Now, I'm essentially saying this is my column, and this is the type of data that can go inside of that column, an integer. This is the column. This is the type of data that can go inside of the column. Varchar, which is a variable length string. That means it could be like letters or numbers. And it can't be any more than 50 characters. I'm essentially going through creating my column and creating my table, I'm sorry. And then creating my column and then defining those columns. Column name, this type, column name, that type, column name. These are data types. Can you see it now, Melissa? Okay.
No, I still can't. It's still a green screen for me.
Oh my God. I don't know. It's
But keep going. I don't want to hold this up. If this is recorded.
yeah, it's for email me and I if you want to go and practice afterwards, I can give you access to the VM and so you can go practice. I don't know why it's showing up like that. Um so okay. Oh, do we have any questions about the data types? Okay.
So for something like the first name and last name that is variable length,
Mm-hmm.
um, variable character,
Mm-hmm.
does it? Why would the first and last name be variable character? Like for dashes, like a hyphenated last name, or I think I asked the wrong question.
No, you asked the right question and I'm gonna explain why.
Okay.
So when I say okay, so varchar, when I say variable character, like it literally can mean like variable length. It means like the length, but when I say variable, a varchar, it's a variable length, meaning that your name might have her name might have 6 letters, your name might have 5 letters, his name might have, so it allows for that date for that column to be flexible. It can't be any more than this, but it can be anything between now and 50 characters.
But the car has to be 10.
Exactly.
It's 10. Okay.
Yep. 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 Any other questions? Okay. So this is your basic SQL syntax. So, okay. So remember how I was saying you that essentially a block of code is syntax, period. If I'm talking about syntax or if I'm talking about a block of code, I'm referencing syntax. That is what I'm doing. Um, I'm referencing syntax. So tonight we are focusing on what is referred to as DML languages, data manipulation language. When you are navigating the space of SQL, it is not uncommon. SQL either does four things: select, insert, update, or delete. Now, within your day to day life, and as you get your first role, as you navigate this space, select is going to be your bread and butter. In real life situations, you will not insert, update, or delete. I'm not gonna say will not because you might. I mean, I don't know everything about every organization, so you might. But 99% of the time, you will be retrieving data. And the reason being is because once you land in a space, the once you land in a space and you get access to the data, the goal is to allow as little permissions as possible. What that means is you probably will not have the permissions to insert, update, or delete data within a database. But I do think that it is important for you to understand and know how to apply them because when DML languages are referenced, that is what they're talking about. It encapsulates all of this. So I do tell y'all all of this, and I do think it's important for you to know how to do it. So if you are within the field of data, you are doing one of four of these things: selecting, which is the retrieving data. Within the last session, I mean the last slide, we had to create table, and somebody was saying, "Okay, well, retrieve data," and I was like, "Nope." The only time when you retrieve data from a database is when you select. Insert is when you're inserting data into the database. Update, updating data into the database, and delete when we're deleting data from the database. I'm going to go into all of these into detail in a minute. Not right now, because I'm going to get y'all into the database first, and we're going to go through those. We're going to go through the database, and then I'm going to go through each of these and then give you use cases with these. So for now, oh, I got my database. For now, go to your Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. And let me know when you can click on it. Or when you have clicked on it rather.
So it's saying I have recovered files.
Don't recover them. You go write your own code, Nicole. Tell them no. Tell them I said no. Wait, were anybody else, were y'all able to connect or able to see your database?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Melissa, you still can't see the screen?
What would give you a green screen?
You say what?
I said, what would give her a green
I don't
screen?
know.
Are your cables all the way?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. So, oh, and I forgot she can't see it. I've been talking to her in the chat. So, this is your view should look like this. Your view should look like this, and what you're looking at is actually this is Microsoft's relational database tool. So this is where the tool, like I said, this tool that Microsoft used, the dialect is T SQL, and I've used this 80% of my career. I use it every day now. Not every day, because I ain't really. Oh, I did do something today. I use it almost every day, even now. So I teach you in it because when you get and when you start interviewing places, and when you ask, so what is your tech stack? TECHSTACK. What's your tech stack? And they say, oh, we use a Microsoft suite. This is what they doing. This is exactly what they're doing. So let's get into the architecture of this. This is your server. This is your bread. This is your butter. This is literally the brain of the database. If the server is down, y'all about to be in analytics. So it's like it's a panic almost because so much data is stored and the data is so valuable and companies lose like X amount of big money for every 30 minutes is down. It's a big deal. So this is like the brain of your database. It houses everything, keeps everything running together. It's no different than like you have like your computer. You have like a CPU on your computer. Like that's the brain. There's a central processing unit. The server is the same way. This here, these are your databases. These little black boxes. I have a little different from y'all, but everybody has their own. Um, because I do like other stuff in here too, but these are your databases. It is not uncommon for organizations to have multiple servers. You might have a production server, dev, QA. You got all these different environments. That's cool. But they're all going to be set up the same, but the only difference is who has access to that data and for what. Um, but the way you use it is still the same. So we have these are your databases here. These are your databases. So let's go into our data analytics simplified database. Let's expand that one. You see all these folders here. Here are your tables. Click on here and you will see you have 3 tables in this database. Let's right click. Well, let's do this first. So I know we talked about data types. We talked about them data types. I said that data types are very important. Um, because they allow your table, excuse me, y'all, they allow your table to be defined because it only holds whatever that data type is. So let's do something that will, I'm going to show you all how to do your data investigation because as we navigate this space, I teach you to use cases, but I will teach you the use cases and I'll tell you the database that is in because you will use multiple databases. However, I don't tell you the tables on purpose. And the reason that I do that is because I like to promote for you to have as realistic of an expectation as possible into what things look like. So if I don't tell you the table, it allows you to go and do your own data investigation, and for you to say, okay, well the data is in this table. This is the one I need because that's how it's gonna look. So one way you can do your data investigation is you can expand your columns here. and you see all of your columns that are within that table. Now, in addition to your columns, you have all this in parentheses. What is this? This is your data type. This is your data type, and this is your definition. Data type, this is the integer. PK. PK is primary key. A primary key within a table is a unique identifier. That means that this record within this table is unique. This is how I'm able to tell each of my records or each of my rows apart with this data, with this column. It's the primary key. It's defined as the primary key. Not null. That means that this column cannot be null. It has to have data in there. This one right here with this course name, course name. This is my column name. This is my data type, varchar. This column name, this is my data type, varchar. Now we go down here and let's expand our enrollments table. In our enrollments table, we have these columns. We have our enrollment ID, which is a PK, that's the unique identifier. So that means that this column here is what is going to make each of my records in my table unique. That's why it has to have data in it. Course ID, student ID, enrollment date, grade. Then I get down here to my students table, same type of concept. I extend my columns and I look at all my data. I got my primary key. That's my unique identifier. These are your data types. That means that only that type of data can go within that column. Nothing more, nothing less. I can't put numbers I'm sorry, I can't put letters in integer. I can't. Now, one other good skill to have in addition to data investigation is understanding data relationships. In our natural language, when we say it's a gnat in here. I hate gnats. In our natural language, when we say um something is related, they're related, he or she is related, they're related. Um if something is related, that means that two of those things, they have something in common. Data is the exact same way. And it is important for you to understand data relationships. And it's important for you to be able to do your data investigation to uncover those data relationships. Because as you navigate this space, nobody is going to come to you and they're not going to say, hey, Nicole, okay, you retrieve this data from this table and join it on here and do that. They're not going to do that. So it's up to you to be able to do that. So when I say data relationships, I mean what makes this table related to the other table? How are these tables related? And that type of knowledge helps you within SQL, but it also helps you within Python, Power BI, Excel. Like everything depends on those data relationships. So if I'm looking at these three tables, how are these tables related? Starting with this course table, how is this table related? How is this course table related to any of these other tables? What's the common field?
Student ID.
You said student ID?
Yeah, which tables were you looking at?
The course table.
The course table,
What tables is this course table related to?
enrollments,
hmm And what's the data relationship?
Course ID.
Yep. Yep, yep, yep. It's the course ID. That's how these two tables are related, the course ID. What about this enrollment table? What tables is this enrollment table related to and how?
Student ID.
Yep, and what table?
Um, enrollments and students.
Yep, 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 yep. What about this students table? What tables is this students table related to and how?
Mm-hmm. That's student. It'll be the same enrollments.
Oh, good. Yes. Oh, thank God. So students, yes, it will be related to the enrollment table. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Melissa. I don't like when y'all can't see it. Good. Okay, good. So the students table is related to the enrollment table. Absolutely on the student ID. So what we just talked, huh?
What are little
Hmm.
pictures mean? Like, what does the little flat key mean and the
Okay.
open key?
Yep. Let's talk about it. So this key means that it's the primary key. If it's colored in like that, that's the primary key. That means that it's this this column here is unique for this whole table. It's primary. You know how in art when we have our primary cut, like our primary color, these are the base. This is the base. This is the base of this table. FK, that is your foreign key. When something is foreign, it's not from there. That literally means that this key or this column, but it's the primary key before another table. It's not from here. It's from another table, is what it's telling you. But that's actually a very good question because, Nicole, that's when you get into your data architecture, which is very good as an analytic professional for you to understand that data architecture. How is my data related? What is the primary key? What is the foreign key? Because that primary key is how, like I said, that table is unique. Each record makes that table unique. If I have 2 million records in this table, I need something consistently to allow me to differentiate between those records. And that's exactly what that primary key does. It's the it's the floor. It tells you that this record is this record is that. No two columns are the same with the primary key. It literally won't work like that. When you define your table as PK or their primary key, it won't even, you can't even insert a duplicate in that column because that's the rules. That is data architecture. We also just talked about data relationships. How are these tables related? Which furthermore goes into data dependencies. Which tables depend on the other? That they all overlap. If something is related to something, it depends on it. If something depends on it, then it's, the data architecture. It's all like the core understanding of data. So that's actually a very good question. And one reason why I'm big on teaching y'all about doing like your own data investigation and stuff is because I don't even know no other way to say this. But organizations do not document their databases. And Candace, you could probably like vouch for these. They do not. Like, I'm literally working on data mapping now, and they've been using this data for like 20 years. And why y'all ain't got no data maps? So it's
That is
important.
so true.
It's for real. Yes. Like y'all been using this data for literally 20 years, and why y'all don't have data maps? So I've been having to do jobs or automation or create projects, but I'm literally having to go through here and like figure out how this data is related, where to pull this column from, how is this related? Okay, what's the dependency on here? And every organization that I've been in, that's how it is. Like if they pull you in, if they gonna come, if you're coming in as somebody within the field of data, you coming to solve a problem. You're coming to solve a problem. You're not gonna come with this packaged book of like this is how your data. That's not how it is. That's not how it is. It's a mess. And then depending on, and even some of the companies and things that you would think that like the tech, what I consider tech companies, even they don't do what they're supposed to do. So I think it's very important that you know how to navigate that, and when you start interviewing, you know how to sell it, because a lot of people don't know how to do that, and it's very much so needed. That's a huge data quality. I did within my role at Optum. I was in that space. I don't know. I think 2 years. I don't know, 2.5. I don't know. But anyway, the whole purpose of me being within that role was to focus on data quality. Like literally, I was a data analyst. That's all I did was data quality because data be a mess. So if you can like really show and sell that part, it's gonna be a great asset to you. Cause they ain't no data mapping, ain't no documentation. There's no, it doesn't exist ever. So I try to teach y'all that so that you go in or you know how things look for real and you're able to apply them for real. So okay, so that's data relationships. Now, when okay, so let me go back to our. You can actually keep your SQL, keep your code up, but I'm gonna share my screen with this viewpoint. So let me drink my water. Hold on. All right. So let's get back into what we were talking about with those DML languages. Select, insert, update, and delete. Tonight, you are actually going to do all of these over here. So select. Select is literally what it says it does. Select is when I'm retrieving data from a database. Select. This star is called a wild card. Do not, it is not best practice to use a star. And the reason why is because a select star literally pulls all the columns and all the data. So let's say you are, we actually had a meeting, um, we actually had a meeting with the data analyst probably about a month ago to enforce like best practices because a lot of them were doing like select star and it was like tying up the database. We ain't got that much memory, y'all. Chill out. But select star will pull all the data, all the columns. It is called a wild card. So here in our syntax, we are select star from this table. Everything you do within SQL, like I told y'all, goes right back to tables. Your data is stored in tables. In the tables, you got your columns. Everything goes back to data. I mean, everything goes back to tables. Everything. When you are retrieving data from a database, I'm selecting and then I list out the columns that I want from my table. That is how you do that. Now, I'm going to go back over here. How we select our columns from our table. Let's right click our students table and select our top 1,000 rows. Were y'all able to do that? And did it give you the same view that I got?
Do it again. I was turning my light on.
Right click and then select your top
Hold on,
1,000.
hold on. Okay.
Right click your table and then select your top 1,000 rows.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what that did was literally what you told it to do. Select the top 1,000 rows. So here we have our select statement. Select. It says top 1,000. That's called a limit. It's only going to limit your output. This is the output. It's only going to limit your output to 1,000 records because that's what you told it. But if I put one, it's only gonna pull one. Whatever you put in there is that's what it's gonna pull it. And the reason why SQL automatically does that is because, like I was saying earlier, within data, organizations have so much data to where your table. I worked with tables with 60 columns and 3 million records. Just so much data. They don't even know what to do with it. They don't even know what they got, to be honest. They don't know what they got. They don't know what to do with it. It's a mess. So when you right click and select your top 1,000 rows, it allows you to only pull 1,000 records. Now, in this select statement, we have our columns, all of our columns here. Notice that these columns are in brackets. When we right click and select our top 1,000 rows, SQL automatically puts brackets around your columns. And the reason being is because there are times to where your column names might actually also be reserved words. What is a reserved word? A reserved word is anything that I say that has the anticipation to like do something else, like select, top, from. Anything that I say that SQL knows it's about to do something. It's no different than how if you have a dog or something. And I could be talking regular, but as soon as I say you want to go outside, you want your toy, you want like the dog will say, yeah, like let's go. It knows what you're talking about. SQL and programming, like all programming languages are the same. Python, they all the same. So anytime you might have a reserved word as a column name, so it automatically puts these brackets around it. Do you have to have your brackets when you write your code? No, you don't have to. But if you're writing your code and the brackets come around, you just keep everything consistent. It just keeps it clean and stuff. Another thing I want you to notice is that when you select your top 1,000 rows, it also puts your columns in the front. I mean, not your columns. What is it? A comma. It also puts your commas in front of your columns. Why? It does that because in the event that I don't want any of these columns, I can just comment it out. This is how you comment it out. Let's say I don't want major in my output. I only want first student ID, first name, last name, Romeo. I don't want major, so I'm gonna comment it out. Comment it out, and I don't have to go through and like figure out what my columns are missing, all this other stuff. I just take it on out. If I comment it out, it just doesn't exist. So best practice: keep your commas in front, keep everything clean, keep everything structured, keep everything organized. Do not feel the pressure to write code from scratch. Nobody cares about that. We don't care. We don't care. And I've seen the reason that I say that is because like I feel like when I'm teaching, a lot of people go and they like, okay, they'll start, get their own window and like literally start from scratch. You don't have to do that. Select your top 1,000 rows and build your query on that. So that is it. Get rid of your top 1,000 and it'll still only pull your columns. It'll pull all of them. It's over 10,000 in here. So it'll pull all of them. So this is select. These are your columns. Whatever columns that you have in your select statement is what's going to show up in your output. If I remove something from my select statement, it's not going to show up in my output. We are pulling our columns from our table. So let's talk about what this is. This is our actual database name. This is our database. This is our schema. Schema is basically how the tables are organized within the database. It's gonna automatically say DBO, but you can change your schema to anything. So in organizations, it won't be uncommon for like them to have like schemas listed by project or something. And then this is your table. But you're literally always pulling data from a table. Anything you're doing in here, this is where it's gonna start from. Select. Um, any questions? Okay. So
Oh, hold tight.
okay.
So,
Who's in Nicole? Okay.
Nicole,
Okay.
with the when you say you don't have to name it DVO, you would just have courses, dot courses. It would just be
Mm-mm. It could be like what that means is let's say all of these tables are in this particular project. So I can name that schema, whatever their project name. Let's say the project name is data migration. I'm using all of these tables for my data migration project. So within my database, I might name the schema for all of those tables data migration. Therefore, all of those data migration project tables are going to be right there together. And it just makes it easier for you to use it, or easier for you to find it. So, first use case. Um, okay, I'm gonna type it in the chat, but I'm gonna also say it. And I'll just type it in the chat just so y'all have it. Okay. So this is very simple. Can you provide me an output of the enrollment ID, student ID, enrollment date, and grade? So the very first thing you need to do is your data investigation. Go and expand your tables and see which of those tables has their data. Not only which of those tables has their data, but get rid of the data that you do not need. And the way you get rid of your data is to comment it out, and you can do two dashes like that. And it's another way you can comment out data, but I'll show you that in a minute. But for this one, the two dashes will suffice. So I need an output of the enrollment ID, student ID, enrollment date, and the grade. So go first things first. Look at your tables. Which data houses that table? Select it, select your top 1,000, and get rid of what you do not need. That's your first use case. Data investigation first, though. What table is it?
enrollment.
Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Were y'all able to get it?
Yes.
What does anybody have any questions about that?
No.
Okay. Okay. What I say? Enrollment ID, student ID. Okay, I don't have a course ID. Is this how y'all's was? Okay. Now, another thing, best practice is to document your code documentation. And this is in the event, let's say you working on a project, or let's say somebody you have to share your code with somebody, or you just might be working on something and come back next week and don't remember what you even doing. So the best way to do that or to counteract that is to document what you're writing in your code. It's even if it's something like a quick note, two dashes, and you want to say provides an output of, whatever you were doing. So put your documentation at the top so you can clearly know what you're doing within your codes. So this best practice documentation, commas in the front. Everything is consistent. Everything just looks clean and stuff. So
How you insert a row?
we finna talk about it.
Oh.
You about to actually insert yourself as a student. That's what you about to do. Go to next step. Go to right click your students table and right click your students table and select the top 1,000 rows. Okay. Now, the next use case is we're going to insert yourself as a student within a student table. And I'm actually going to break that down kind of in phases. I want you to insert yourself within that table, and then I want you to go back and test it. How to test it is I want you to insert yourself, and then I want you to go back and retrieve yourself from the table. So insert and then select. So within your code, when you are okay. So each of these languages, I mean, each of these concepts they all cannot be executed at the same time. So if I'm inserting something, I cannot select something. Like they two different things. They literally are working against each other. So when you create your insert syntax, you need to comment out your select syntax. And the way you comment out a block of code is backslash star. You put backslash star at the top, star backslash at the bottom, and that'll comment out the full block of code. And then come down here and start your insert syntax. Now, I want you to I can't spell, y'all. Okay. Now let's get into the insert syntax. Now, did y'all see how I commented out that code? Like start backslash star at the top and then star backslash at the bottom. This doesn't even exist. So it's gonna get rid of that whole thing. So this is your insert syntax. Now insert literally says what it does. It inserts data into that database. So we have our insert into, we have our table name. You're fine. And then list out all of your customers. I mean, not your customers. List out all of your columns that are within that table. Insert into. List out all your columns. And then I come down here on my next line and I say values. Insert the values within those columns. Everything has to align. Everything has to align. Now, another thing to notice is your data types. So we are like this table. We're inserting ourselves within a student table. So go and look at your data types within your student table because you're inserting data into that. And whatever data I'm inserting into that table has to match the data type. Because if it don't match the data type, it's not gonna work. So okay, so for integer, you can type an integer. You can just type a number for an integer regular. That means you don't need any special characters. I'm typing in the chat so you can have notes. Okay, so for integer, you don't need any special characters. Okay. And for varchar, you need to put your value, you need to push those single quotes around your values. That's a single quote. There's one little dash on one side and one little dash on the other side. So for varchar, you have to make your character, you have to make your value a string data type. For integers, you don't need anything. But for varchar and dates, you have to make your data type a string. So for this use case, I want you to insert yourself as a student within the student table. Um, and the requirement that I have is make your okay. So insert yourself as a student within a student table, and the only requirement that I have is to make your student ID 25,000. I don't care about like majors or enrollment or anything like that. But the only requirement is to make your student ID 25,000. So you commented out your select statement. Now let's go and let's work on our insert syntax. And we're gonna use this as a model. We're gonna insert into our table, list out our columns, and then list out our values, and then execute. I'll be right back. How y'all coming?
Mm-hmm.
Who's that, Nicole? You want to share your screen, or you want to try for a minute?
Oh, I want to try.
Okay. I'm writing with y'all. I don't know why I always do this. Y'all okay?
And searches. Okay.
Who is it? Oh, okay.
So if I hit execute, it's supposed to work, huh?
What did it say? It's not going to retrieve any data. It's going to update. It's going to let you know that it's how many rows affected. Should be a one.
Well, I didn't press anything yet.
Oh well, I don't know. You
Okay.
execute it, and see. Don't be
Oh,
scared. Look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You can't break nothing over there.
okay. I got it. So you won't be able to see my screen because I'm on my desktop,
Mm-hmm. So,
but I have invalid common name,
oh,
column
invalid
name,
common name, column name.
column
Okay.
name,
So you got to debug.
spaces
So
that
no,
has spaces.
you saying it's saying that it's an invalid column name. So what it's saying is, so we have okay. So where my mouse? Okay. So we have insert into, and then we got our table name. Something that you listed within this set of parentheses is not a valid column. So we
Okay.
insert into this table, and then we list out the columns that are in that table.
I chose the little pop-ups that it had.
Oh, you can't share your
Like
code,
when I type student,
and then you
uh,
put commas between each one.
I have a comma between each one.
Can you post that code in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, let me look at it. Cause you can't share your screen, can you?
Let's see if I no.
Yeah, let me see your code. Candace, Latasha, and Melissa, Denisha, were y'all able to do it?
Yes. You're trying.
Okay. Latasha, what you caught up on? We can talk through
Somebody share your screen so I can see.
it. Where my mouse? Oh, there it is. Let me share mine. I can't. Where? Oh, here I am. But no, for me, work laptop will not let me access. Okay. Okay, Melissa. Oh, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense because of the security. Okay, we'll talk, Melissa. Okay. So insert into, and then we got our. I literally copied it like this and put it down here. And then I listed out the columns, and then I turned around and listed out the values.
So for the values, was I supposed to have it in a single quote?
Yep. Well, for varchar you are, but for
Oh,
if
yeah,
something
that's the,
for integer you don't have to. The only
okay.
thing
Let's
you
get
need.
this.
That's it.
I'm gonna see.
Okay. For varchar you good, but for
Yeah, yeah. You
integer
did say that.
and dates you don't have to. No, dates you have to. Integer, like just integer, you don't have to.
one row affected.
Yes, good. Good, good, good.
Okay, let me delete my chat.
Ain't no check. Oh, you were about to say something. Okay. Now,
No, I was about to type what I was about to type.
oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So, okay, so we inserting data into the table. So, of course, inserting, we're not going to get anything in the output. So, this means the one row affected, it did what it was supposed to do. Latasha, did you get this?
I got I typed up and I'm not finding the execute, but what I got
Right here.
see. Oh, okay, okay.
And then you can actually press F5, but some people computers different. I don't be feel like getting in it. But either this or either F5 if it works for you. But yeah. So here we inserted our data into the table. Now let's go test our changes. So if I was to go and retrieve you as a student from that table, let's talk about that. Okay. So in order to retrieve data from a table, we select whatever from this table. However, when we get into retrieving specific records from a table, we have to filter. Where is a filter? WHERE. We're literally saying where this column equals whatever we're looking for. We use where in this update statement, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So where? So if I'm retrieving you from this table, I'm selecting these columns from this table, and I say where. Now, if I was to look for you explicitly, the record that you just inserted into that table, if I was looking for you, which column makes the most sense to use to find you? Think about, go over there and look at our go over here and look at our data types and how our tables are defined, and think about which column makes sense to go and retrieve only you. All I want is you. Which column would I use for that?
My student ID.
Yes, ma'am. So I am selecting all of these columns from this table. Now let's filter our data. We're gonna say where you said student ID. Select column from this table where this column equals your student ID. And then execute.
And we're removing the. Oh wait, hold on.
This is called a filter. Think about when you are, I don't know if y'all drink coffee. I be drinking coffee. I had stopped, but I haven't started back, so it don't matter. But think about like even when you have coffee and you got your coffee filter. You put your coffee in the top, you put your filter in the bottom. The only thing comes through is what you need. Data's literally the same way. If I say where, this where is called a filter. Where this column equals whatever value that I'm looking for or whatever condition that I'm looking for. This is called a filter or a condition. It's called a condition, a filter or a condition. But I'll say where this column, because everything goes back to a table or a column. You're not doing nothing in SQL if you're not doing it to a table or a column. Where this column equals whatever I'm explicitly looking for. And you absolutely right. Student ID is the most appropriate column to use because student ID is their primary key. That's their unique identifier. So we went and inserted our data into that table. And then we turned around and we tested that data. We tested the change. So how we did that is we retrieved that data from that table. We going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Any questions about that condition? Okay. Update. I want you to update your major to computer science. So this is huh?
I got another error.
Okay, what you
Incorrect syntax near student ID.
double
Oh, select top. Never mind.
Oh, you didn't get rid of the full yep. Okay, good. Okay, come through, debug. Good. So
Right.
okay, perfect. Okay, good. Okay, so now you debugging. Perfect. Like when you and now and as you like go through, like now when you see stuff, you'll like automatically be able like I can look at code and be like, they ain't gonna work. Now it'll kind of start coming through. So okay. So next use case, update your major to computer science. So the syntax to update that is update your table name, set. When I say set, it's no different than how you like roller set your hair or something. You set this column to this, where this column equals this. This is our condition again. I'm telling you to update this column within this table where this condition is met. This is our condition. So update your major to computer science. So comment out your select statement again. And now come on down and keep your insert. You can keep your audio script in there. Come down here and write your update syntax. Okay, perfect. And let me know if you want to talk through it or understand the concept of it. Or talk through any concepts or anything. Update yourself and then go back and test your changes. Y'all got any questions? Were y'all able to successfully execute it? Latasha, were you able to do it?
No, ma'am.
You said no.
Mm-mm.
You want to share your screen, or you want to talk through it?
No, I can't. I'm on this
I forgot.
laptop. Yeah, I'll be better prepared next week.
What error did you get?
Um, I think I erased, deleted from scratch, and I'm still typing up the
Oh,
update.
okay. Just use this update and then the table name and then set we're gonna do major. Set your major to computer science and then where this condition is met, where this column equals whatever. We're gonna use student ID since it's the unique identifier. Candace, were you able to get it?
This was still only when you execute, it will still give you only one row affected.
Yep. That's what you got?
Yes.
Good. Yep, that is absolutely correct. Now go back, comment out your update statement and go back and test it. So go comment it out and then go back and select yourself from the table to see if the change implemented correctly. Yep. Any questions about the update syntax? Okay. Now the last one was delete. Delete, huh? You said wait, Nicole.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk through it? You say you want me to share mine?
Yeah.
Oh, let me get that out there. Okay, right here. Update.
Man, no single quote, man.
That yes. So that's where like that data type comes into play. Because when I tell you code is so particular, like I've been what's today? Thursday. I've been working all week on the automation project for Python and it ran in like in my environment, but then when I went and tried to schedule it, it wouldn't run. And the reason why it wouldn't run is because within the environment I had like invalid data type. Like it, and I've been literally today Thursday. Today is Thursday. Like today is Thursday.
Thursday.
I've been working on this since Monday. And it was like I literally cracked the code today. When I figured out, I'm like, this been a problem. So yeah, it's like that. It's just the data types.
Okay.
Data type. But yeah, update table name, set whatever column, because everything is either a table or a column. You're not doing nothing in SQL unless you are impacting you're either retrieving data from a table, and the data is always housed in columns. So update table, set this column to whatever you want your updated field to be. Where this column equals 25,000. This where is called a filter, and it is also called a condition where this condition is met. You are getting explicit in what you need within your data set or what you're updating. So we're gonna just comment. The last one is delete. This one is you delete that record from your from the table. I'll just type it in the chat. And this is the syntax. and you should get the one row affected message like you got from the insert update, because you're only gonna affect one row. Delete yourself and then go and test that change. You can literally keep using the same code to test your changes from your select statement. Any questions with the delete or concerns, or if anything you want to talk through?
That one was easy. I didn't have to have a quote.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Candace, Denisha, Latasha, Melissa. What about y'all?
Right. Yep, I deleted it.
Okay. Good. So tonight was our introduction session. This is the baseline. This is the floor. Everything that we do from tonight on forward will literally build upon this. Tonight we encapsulate what is referred to as those DML languages, the data manipulation language. Select, insert, update, and delete. The rest of the sessions, we will focus primarily on retrieving the data and doing the analysis and different concepts with select, because that will be, like I said, your bread and butter. But I think that it is very important for you to understand all of them, because in analytics, when it is referred to as the DML languages, it's encapsulating all of this. So y'all, I think you need to know it, or at least have some sort of like how that data is structured, how you apply it, and what it's referenced to. So you're not like, what are they even talking about? So the DML languages. We also focus on filtering, which is where this column equals this. Filtering and conditions is literally a condition. I'm saying where this condition is met. I only want this data where this condition is met. Do we have any questions about any concepts or anything that we applied tonight? Okay. Okay. So next week we will get into our, we're gonna go like high level. I'm not gonna like go super deep into this next week. Next week we're gonna go into what is called aggregate functions. That's when we get into the calculations, the analysis, what's the sum of this, what's the average of that. We're gonna get into aggregate functions. We're gonna get into those categorization by aggregate functions. And we're also going to get into logical operators. Logical operators are filters, but they lean into, I don't know if logical operators are considered advanced filtering. I don't know, but it's definitely like it's filtering, even more filtering. So next week it is the logical operators, aggregate functions, and yeah, and categorizing those aggregate functions by categorization. Your coding challenge. So your coding challenge should start. You receive it in your inbox on Sunday. That will give you the opportunity to practice and apply what you've learned. Also, this recording goes to you as well. And in the event that you want me to turn on the VM so you can go and practice and apply some concepts, just shoot me an email over and I'll do it so you can go in a real environment in between sessions, no pressure, and practice some concepts, especially as we lean into more of the advanced uh, concepts as we go. Uh, I think that y'all did. I'm actually sometimes the first sessions be kind of but I'm actually very confident in this group because y'all actually did very well with the application of these concepts. Because, like I said, every session going forward is literally gonna layer on top of this. By session three, we're gonna get into joins and case statements and things like that. Everything is literally like layering on top of this, like lasagna or something. So I think it's very important, and I'm very confident in what you all did tonight. This is a strong foundation for you. If you need me before now and next week, you can always email me. You can always put some time on my calendar, because I want to make sure that you actually understand some the concepts that you're applying. Because if you understand them, you're able to talk through them in interviews and things like that. What's up, Nicole?
How much time, like, just say, hey, can you turn me on between 12 and 1 Tuesday? Or,
That's cool. Something like that. Like you don't have to be like really like just nudging on over and try to give me some time because I don't like check my email all the time. Like if you want it on Tuesday at 2, that's cool. But let's say I want it on in 5 minutes. I might not see it in 5 minutes.
okay.
So just a few,
Because I'm going to forget everything tomorrow. So I'm
yeah,
going to try tomorrow morning.
yeah. And I see that's cool. As long as like I'm not teaching a course or anything, you more than welcome to because that's the point. I want to give you the ability to go back and look at these and then be able to like work through it because that's literally the only way you're gonna get good at it. And I tell people all the time, like I was telling y'all in the touch base, if you only looking at SQL during our sessions, you're not gonna know what's going on. Especially like as we navigate the space, you really gonna be frustrated. So it's best to like couple like I ain't even gonna say a couple hours a week. I would say, just do your weekly coding challenges, look at some stuff and hop in here if you want to and just get your hands dirty. Cause you can't break nothing in there. You literally can't. It's not connected to nothing. Some of the data, most of the data is like real data. Like their stroke data is data from the WHO. Like it's real data analysis. So it's good for you to be able to go through there and even do some people take screenshots of them, for their portfolios and stuff. So because a lot of organizations actually use that environment. So it's good opportunity and good practice. Uh, any other questions, y'all? Okay. Well, y'all did good.
Nothing else?
Huh?
I said nothing else? Candace going to have to start sharing her screen.
Yeah. Yep. Um, Let me know if you need me between now and next week. Let me know if you have any questions between now and next week, and let me know if you would like to after you visit the recording. I know Melissa for sure you gonna want to, but anybody else, just let me know.
Okay.
All right.
So to get out, we just exit out.
Yeah, it'll shut down. It's on a timer. It'll shut down in a few minutes anyway. But yeah, just exit out. Yeah.
And you said the coding challenge was sent to us via email. No,
What you say?
the coding challenge was sent to us via email on Sunday.
Yep. Yep. I automated them out for every Sunday for this cohort. So just get it. And it'll give you the opportunity to apply this stuff as well. And you'll get eight. You'll get eight. So even after, like, you'll still be in your coding challenges to practice. Any other questions? All right. Well, good night, y'all. Y'all had a good first session. Y'all had a really, y'all had, and I must say, y'all had a really good first session. Y'all really did, and I'm not just saying it because a lot of times it's like climbing up a hill, and of course, over time, it's like about application, not memorization, which I'm big on, but you will never fully know everything in SQL. Let me put that out there because I still don't know everything. But tonight was a very good session. Like usually when I have very good first sessions, the cohorts go very smoothly. So just continue to show up. And this was a lot, especially for like coming into it. But come in and keep showing up for yourself. This was very good, very positive, very positive. And like I said, let me know if y'all need me.
Okay.
Yeah. Good night, y'all.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.